Today we are going to talk about Dunder methods in Python. So Dunder word has come from two words. It's a combination of two words, double underscore. So D from double and under from underscore. That's where we get our word Dunder. Now, why do we call these methods or functions which we define inside the class as Dunder methods? Because these are special methods and they start with double underscore. So Python uses these Dunder methods to let our custom objects behave like built-in ones. So let's write that down. So Python uses Dunder methods to let our custom objects behave like built-in ones. So the built-in object, like if you have an object of integer class or string class, you can use this plus operator. But if you want to use the plus operator to add or with your two objects of your own class, it will give you an error. But with Dunder method, you can do it. You can make this plus operator work with your objects to do whatever you want. So in this video, we'll understand these Dunder methods in the most intuitive way. We are going to carry forward our example from the previous classes, the bank account class, and we'll gradually add these Dunder methods to our bank account class and see how we can improve the functionality of our bank account class with these Dunder methods. So let's start. This is our bare bones bank account class, not doing much here. We have this init method. Now we just said that Dunder methods are supposed to start with double underscore. So is init also a Dunder method? Yes, you have got it right. Init is also a Dunder method. Whenever we create an object of this bank account class, this init method gets called automatically. Now, let's create an object of this bank account class. So B1 is equal to bank account. And it takes two input, the owner name, let's say Aryan, and the balance, 1000. Now, if I go ahead and print B1, the print function here doesn't really know how to print it well. It is giving you this string, which is not a very good way to display what is in B1 or what B1 holds. So if you want to get, when you use print with object of this bank account class and you want it to display the output in a given certain format, you can basically use a Dunder method. The Dunder method is called underscore underscore. So all the Dunder methods start with underscore underscore str. It takes self as the first input and that's it. And then whatever you want to this str to return. So whenever you call this print p1, this str method would be called, the Dunder method would be called. If you have this function defined inside your class. Now, what we want to return? Maybe we want to return a f string, a formatted string, and I want to return the owner name, self dot owner. So Aryan's bank balance, something like that I want to return. So account and then dash and then balance. And self dot balance. So let's run this piece of code. It's giving us indentation error. So this and this are not in the same line. Now they are first function and the second function were not in the same line, and hence the indentation error. Now let's run this. So previously this was the output that we were getting. Now let's run it and see the output. Now the output looks much better. I have not enclosed it in curly brackets, so let's do that as well. This is the output. So what is this string doing? It is telling Python how to display the object when we print it using print function. Now let's say a particular user can have two accounts in the bank and they want to merge it. So I can go ahead and create a function called as merge account, but I don't want to do that. Maybe I want to use the plus operator there. So again, for doing that, you want your plus operator to work with your bank account object. For that, we have a dunder method, which is underscore underscore add underscore underscore. And it takes two inputs. One is the self, because we are trying to add the two bank accounts. Both are object of the bank account class. So first object self and the second object other. And now what do you want to do? We want to simply create a new bank account where the owner name remains the same, but the balance is added. So we'll say bank account. How do we create an object? Bank account. And it takes two inputs, the owner and the balance. The owner name is same, self dot owner, and balance we need to add. So self dot balance plus other dot balance. Here we need to also check if the two accounts are of the same customer. If they're not of the same customer, of course you cannot add it like this. It would be very wrong. So for that, we'll just keep a simple condition. If the name of the name on the two accounts are same, we'll assume they are of the same customer, keeping a very simple condition here. So we can quickly check if self dot owner is equal to other dot owner. That means the accounts are of the same owner, and we can go ahead and create another account for them where the name on the account would remain same and the balance would be added. And we can return this value. So this is nothing but an object of bank account class, and we are returning that. If this condition is not met, if somebody is trying to merge the two accounts of different users, we just print a message saying cannot merge account with different owners. And that's it. Now let's create two accounts. P2 bank account. This is also Aryan's account. And let's say in this one, he has $3,000. Now, if we go ahead and say B1 plus B2, if you try it without this add function, it will give you an error that this particular data type is not supported or plus operator. But now because we have this add function or method will be called. And what it returns in the output, it gives us an object. So let's just save it in some variable, B3. It gives us an object of this bank account class. And if we use it with print, the string method would be called. And this is what we are getting. So it's Arin's account with a balance of 4,000. So how cool is that? Similarly, if you want to compare two accounts, if you want to see if the two accounts are of the same owner or not, you have this method underscore underscore equal EQ. Again, it will take two inputs, self and other, and it will return a true or a false. We can just have a condition here. Two conditions we need to check. For it to be the same account, the owner name, we are keeping very simple conditions here. The owner name has to be same, let's say, and the balance also has to be same for it to be the same account. And self dot balance is equal to other dot balance. Okay, so if this both the conditions are true, this will return a true. Otherwise, even if one condition of the two is false, it will return a false. So let's go ahead and the same account, what I'll do is I'll make it 1,000. Now, if I compare the two accounts, using equal operator, it's returning a true. Now, let's say you want to basically calculate or fetch the length or number of transactions done by the user. The number of transactions. Maybe you have created a list and you're just appending the transactions there. And now you want to check the number of transactions. So you would say, okay, I'll create a function for that. But let's say I tell you, no, you cannot create a function. You have to use the len function. So will len work with an object of our custom class, the bank account class? The answer is no. It will give us type error. The object of type bank account has no len. Len's function doesn't support object of bank account class. But we want it to work, the len function to work for objects of bank account class as well. For that, again, we have one Dunder method. It's called underscore underscore len underscore underscore. And now self is the always the first argument. And what we wanted to return, this method wanted to return the len of the transactions. So for that, let's first create another variable called transaction. And let's by default make it empty list. If somebody has not passed the transactions, it is an empty list. Just keeping it simple for this example, but you can append, you can have a deposit function here and a withdrawal function, and you can append this particular transactions list. It will be the transactions. Okay. Now, what do you want to do here? We want to return the, so this is a list. This variable self dot transaction is a list data type, right? User is supposed to pass a list of all the transactions. Otherwise, if user has not passed the list, it will take the default value empty list. And we want to count the number of transaction, number of items in this list. So we know len function works for list data type or object of list class. We can say len self dot transactions. So this is a list, it will give us the number of items, and that's what we are returning here. So let's run it. Now for bank account 1, let me pass some transactions. 3, 4, 5. These are some of the transactions done. These many transactions are done. Now if I check len E1, it should work this time. 5 transactions. If I check len of B2, there are 0 transactions done there. Right? So here we made len function to behave exactly like it behaves for a list data type. Let's say I also want to check if my account is active or not. So if it's active, it should return me true. If it's not active, it should return me the Boolean value false. So again, for that, we have a Dunder method called bool, BOOL, that stands for Boolean, self. And what it does is it returns self dot balance greater than zero. So we are assuming if there is a certain balance, then the account is active, otherwise it is inactive. So if the balance is greater than zero, this will evaluate to true and true would be returned. If it's less than zero, it will evaluate to false and false would be returned. So now if I check for B1, how do I check? Boot. And then I pass B1, it is returning true because the account is active. If I make it zero and check for B2 now, it will return the Boolean value false. What if I want to get each of these transactions item using indexing like we were doing for list data type or tuple or string? Can we do it for our custom data type as well? Not directly, we have to use Dunder method. So if I want to do something like this, B1, 2, it should return me the second transaction. So it will give me error right now, but we have a Dunder method to make this possible. The Dunder method is called underscore underscore get item underscore underscore. And it will pass it two values. Self is always the first argument, and then whatever index you have here, that will also get passed. So you say index, variable name here could be anything. And we want it to return what? The transaction, this transaction attribute at that particular index. So that's easy because transactions is data type and indexing works for that. We can just simply do something like this. And now if we run it, see it's returning 5. Why? Because this is calling get item method of bank account class. We have just converted our simple plain bank account class into a very powerful Python object. And the behavior of this bank account now is very native to other inbuilt data types in Python. And that's what really Dunder methods help you achieve. If this helped you, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with your Python friends. See you in the next one. Thank you for watching.